This is part one of a two-part presentation I'm going to make on high school packets. And there are two reasons for this. Reason number one is because the material is very extensive, and it's going to take me a while to cover all of this. Number two is because of a YouTube user. Listen to this guy's username. It is spelled SDETTDEWSF. Like that username? You can't even pronounce this thing. Wow. All right. Now, why do I want to go after this kid? Here's the reason why. I made a response to Nell Komar Productions, and then this kid comes around and makes a response to me. Let me tell you what I told Nell Komar Productions, which inspired this kid to go after me. I said, let me correct you. The only time people have the right to criticize someone about their job is when they've walked a mile in their shoes. Heaven forbid if anybody walks up to a track and field star and starts telling him how he should do his job, unless, of course, they are a track and field star themselves. This is just a logical fact. But let's continue. What else did I say? That's what I'm saying. I have the credentials and I have the right to criticize that teacher. Why do I have those credentials? Because I'm a level 1 data processor. Because I've been running a YouTube channel, which is mostly educational, for the last 4 years. Because I've actually tutored kids. Let's go on. And for the record, I don't like her methods of teaching any more than he does. The he referring to Jeff Bliss. And I didn't like Jeff Bliss's teacher any more than he did. So what does this, whatever his name is pronounced, say? Okay. He says, let me correct you, sir. Everyone has the hang on. I do have a stuttering problem. Everyone has the right to criticize anyone as long as it is constructive, and no matter your credentials are, if you cannot respond to that criticism with facts and logical arguments, even if you are the supreme high warlord of the universe, as long as what you say has a point and is said in a constructive manner. Where did you go to grammar school? That is the most run-on, long sentence I have ever heard in my entire life. You know, the next time you respond to me, I would hope that you would proofread what you're stating before you state it. And if you can't, learn how to proofread and go back to grammar school. Simple. Okay. He goes on. In order to make a good point, credentials are important. However, logic is universal and anyone can make cause and effect analysis which can point out the problem. Now keep in mind, he has joined together the words which can point out the. That's all one word. Do you not know how to use a space bar? And here you're trying to argue a case against me? Do you know what my academic scholar friends would do to you if you did that kind of thing to them? They'd laugh you right out of school. Alright. Well, anyway, I did take the time to actually respond to him. And I said, you don't have enough credentials to correct me, sir. If you can't even write in basic grammar, what makes you think you're going to be able to argue successfully with me? Oh well. Go back to high school and join a debate club. First of all, go back to high school and take a grammar class. Then take a proofreading class, and then go out and join a debate club. Okay? Then come back and argue with me. When you have some experience, then you can debate. So what does this guy write to me back? Instead of learning how to do grammar, learning his proofreading, and then joining a debate club, what does he say? And what makes you the supreme authority on deciding on who has enough credentials? Oh, we'll get into that. That aside, let's make some cause-and-effect analysis here on your credentially based logic. Sounds real fancy, doesn't it? if we take that logic we will have, and I am speaking hypothetically, so correct me if you have evidence against it. Oh, but I do. And there's that grammar again. Wow! Grammar! I am just having a ball here. I am laughing my socks off. Let's go on here. We should ban critical thinking because it suggests that we must criticize and question everything no matter the credential. Boy, where do you get this stuff? Out of a modern day textbook? Wait until I give my presentation on that. You got a lot to learn. That also forms the basis of science. So you say we should ban science. Well, at least that sentence is grammatically correct. But I can say that that's not what I said at all. Okay. Let's not rely on my credentials for this answer. Let's rely on the credentials of the critical thinking community. So, who are these people? Well, I'm going to leave you a link down here below, and I want you to read their article on the definition of critical thinking. Go about, say 3 or 4 paragraphs down, if you can even read this stuff, because according to your grammar, I don't know if you can even read, but okay. Let's just assume you can read here. That's a big assumption at this point. I'm sorry, this is funny. This is absolutely funny. I'm having a riot here. Okay, bear with. Oh, the more I think about it, the funnier this gets. Okay. All right. Let me get my composure. Wow. Okay, now I'm getting back my composure here. Let's go about 3 or 4 paragraphs down, and we will find the words of clarity, accuracy, precision, sound evidence. I like this one. This is good. Sound evidence. Okay, so what should Jeff Bliss have really done? Well, what he should have done is he should have performed statistical analysis on all of his classmates. Found out their grades, found out what kind of material they were retaining, and try to make some kind of a direct correlation between their poor grades and those high school packets. Now, had he done so, he could have made a formal presentation, not in a classroom, but at a school board meeting, and challenged the school administration to do something about the teacher. He could have done that. So, step number 1 for this whatever username, I can't even pronounce it, I don't think anybody else could either, is I would like for you to read the article I have left down here below. That's the first link. I want you to read that thoroughly. After reading that, then try to come back and try to criticize me. I don't think you'll win. Could be wrong, but I don't think you'll win. The point is, Jeff Bliss did not have sound evidence to make his case. Okay? He also did not have the credentials to do it. What did this kid know about statistical analysis? Has he studied statistics? I seriously doubt it. Maybe Jeff Bliss should go to school, learn about statistics, do a statistical analysis of his classmates, and then make such a presentation. Okay? Now then, if Jeff Bliss did not want to rely on his own credentials to talk about high school packets, he could have relied upon other credentials. And that's what the second link down here is all about. All right? The second credentials he could have relied on come from a man, he is an actual teacher. His name is Seth Perler. Alright? Now, before we begin talking about Seth Perler, I should first establish why these high school packets were created in the first place. They were created as a kind of a makeshift summer school, okay? And the idea was that these kids were supposed to do their homework over the summer and then turn it in the fall, and it was supposed to be part of their big grade for the next year. Right. Okay, we have parents today. Both parents often work 2 jobs. So who's monitoring the kid to make sure he does his homework? Some kind of an ogre or a gremlin, or maybe even a babysitter, realistically? Okay, so what's the problem with these packets? Alright, we have kids, some learn incredibly fast, some don't learn as quick. But these packets don't make any discernment between those that learn quickly and those that don't. So the ones that don't learn very fast, they struggle with the packets, while the ones that learn very quickly are easily bored with them. See what I mean? So the packets are not designed for the students in mind. Getting the picture? Alrighty. And like I said, a lot of kids are very bored with these packets. They either learn very quickly or they're struggling with it. Either way, they don't want it. Okay? Can a student ask a packet a question? No. A student can ask a teacher a question, but not a packet. Now, some of these dumb teachers go out and say, well, they can just go off to the internet. Really? Why don't we do some statistical analysis of that? Do you know there is just as much misinformation on the internet as there is reliable information on the internet? And who's teaching these kids to discern between the unreliable information and the reliable information? Do we have a packet for that? I wonder. Now, if the kids start resenting the packets because either they're too hard or they're way too easy, then they're also going to start resenting the teachers who gave them the packets, and ultimately resent the schools who hired the teachers to give them the packets. That's a problem. Okay? And these packets really don't teach anything. They force the kids to do all the work. That's wrong. And you can find all this described in that article down below from Seth Perler. He describes all of these problems. Now, what's the point? The point is that if Jeff Bliss wasn't relying on his own credentials, but relying on the credentials of Seth Perler, and bear with me, I know I have a stuttering problem, so bear with me. But if Jeff Bliss had relied on the credentials of Seth Perler, he could have still won the argument. But he needed to do it in an open forum. That's what they have school board meetings for. Had he made that presentation in a school board meeting, or presented it here on YouTube like I'm doing right now, he would have been much more effective, and he would have gotten my full support. That is the proper way to make a formal presentation. And you can learn this if you go and learn about debate clubs. You learn when to give a debate, how to give a debate, and how to be an effective debater. Let me tell you something. I don't know everything about critical thinking. That's why I gave you that link to critical thinking. Because I wasn't going to rely on my credentials, I was going to rely on theirs. They have enough credentials to tell you that you don't know a diddly squat about critical thinking. You understand? And this is the same thing as if Jeff Bliss had relied on the credentials of Seth Perler to make his formal case. Do you understand the difference now? Well, one of the things I will tell you is that I have a tendency to babble. And if I don't end this video right now, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I really don't want to get into babbling. I think you guys saw a little bit of that when I did my video to the Outspoken. I did a little bit of babbling then, and I really don't want to do that babbling now. So I'm going to cut this short and say, that's what I'm talking about. Hopefully, when I make part 2 of High School Packets, I won't have to make a presentation like this. Of course, knowing my luck, I probably will. I would like for you to go down. I want you to go back to my video that said my response to Jeff Bliss, and I want you to go down to look at all those video responses I made to that particular video. Watch every one of them. Then I want you to go out. I want you to read what I showed you about critical thinking and what I showed you about Seth Perler. Then come back and respond to me. And for heaven's sakes, correct your grammar, learn how to proofread, and get some kind of an education. I grow tired of this. Actually, the word is weary. I grow weary of this. Very weary of this. Anyway, I'm going to cut the video short. I will tell you more in a future video. Stay tuned.